quarantine. For it was a problem, a real problem, whether to continue the quarantine or to stop, because there is a virus, and the virus is going on. And we know that the whole world is a little bit on hold, or expecting something very, very difficult to face. It's a very special day. We are on the 1st of Nisan, 5790, according to the Jewish calendar. On the same time, we read in the Eastern Orthodox tradition, we read today the account, the sort of fairy tale, but it is realistic, of the Tower of Babel. And the people, the nation, the one nation, they had only one tongue, one speech, one language, one words. In fact, special one sort words. Dvarim achadim. It doesn't mean that the language was really, we don't have any what to record. And of course, there was no TV by the time, and the people couldn't put it down, write it down. But the thing to note today is that indeed, at some point, maybe an original one, the human nature could have something totally common, and just common in common, or specific words that they could use, and words who could be a total link connection with the Lord. Maybe. The problem is that in the account as read today in the Orthodox churches deals with a sort of pride. Either it is a pride, well, we want to build a tower and we'll reach to heaven and we'll be the first and the only ones, and will rule on something which is not very clear. Maybe what? A construction? Because we are the sons of the one who gives birth to human beings. The pride is very interesting, because during the time of Great Lent, we read, or we are supposed to read and understand and make it real, the Lenten prayer of Saint Ephraim the Syriac. And it says, "Well, take from me the spirit of sloth, faint-heartedness, lust of power, and idle talk. But give me rather the spirit of chastity, humility." We have to humble down. But this is far too much. There is a sort of resistance, a fighting, we can't accept it. And then this year, this is the real challenge. we're obliged, we're compelled to step down and fight. Both step down and know that we have to humble down. But when we say this, and this is a kind of parroting, slogan in the church, motto, of course people have to humble and be in the spirit of humility. Well, at least you have to do this, not me. Why? Well, this is the best. Bou nishtacha v'nichra v'nivracha. Come and bow, kneel down and fall down totally, yes. It is the way Jesus Christ did on the way to the cross. It is the way Mordechai in the Megillat Esther, in the scroll of Esther, said, "Oh, I will come and bow, but I will not kneel down in front of an idol." A man who, what? Deals with power. We are to humble. And the best way to humble down at this point is very, very simple. Just get infected. The whole world get infected by some diseases. As this year, in a pathetic way, unexpected way. Well, it's not unexpected, because of course it was to happen. When we go beyond the mark, when we cross the border, when we are too proud of ourselves, when we say all the time how humble and poor we are in front of the Lord. But just look at what happened these 2, 3, 4 years. Total split. And exactly the same with the Brexit, and exactly the same with the competition, and exactly the same thing with the rich and the poor. And we have more poor, underemployment, unemployed people, marketing people and souls. Well, there is a moment when confusion reaches a peak. And then God says, die. It suffices. Enough. Enough is enough. Not the Dayeno that is to be found in the order of Pesach, Agadah shel Pesach, the account of the Passover in the Jewish tradition. One miracle took place, usually the plagues. It would have sufficed. In that particular case, it shows a blessing. Yes, some people may die, but it will be for the sake and salvation of those who are called to be redeemed. But who knows who will be redeemed? The problem we face right now is how we are free, how we set people free, how we accept them to be free, how we work for this with decency, not loading the doctors, physicians, because they are able to save some souls and bodies and cure them. It is a miracle. The real question is, where is the Eikonomia in Greek? The law that governs the house. The same as the Eikologia, the rules that governs the house according to the nature. The nature has to grow, has to breathe, and human beings have a right to breathe. And they are on a sort of Shabbat, unexpected Shabbat because of a virus. They get more and more frightened because of that virus, because the virus can swallow them from inside and reach to their lungs. Всякое дыхание доходит Господа. Those who breathe from the breath that God breathed into the nostrils of the first Adam and passed generations to generations. It is a huge responsibility that cannot be reduced to singletons, Einzelgänger, out-single the persons, individuals, people who would accept them and not the others, whether in different generations. There is a law how to rule and how to manage, how to run a house. And the house is also the presence of God, because we are called to be a temple of the Lord. St. Paul said this, that he had the temple. He knew what the temple was. The temple was not standing. It was not a building only. It was not only the Shekhinah. It means the presence, divine presence, or the past divine presence. Where was the divine presence but everywhere? When there is a kind of breath, human breath, there is a soul, a language. Our languages are broken down and split. Technically, this can be corrected, more or less. But the eikonomia is the main problem at the present, because we cannot all the time say and repeat and tell it again and again. Well, this year all the churches will be closed. There is a closure. Closures are normal in faith. Jews are always separated. This is the real meaning of the Pershim, the Pharisees, in order to keep the true faith. In the Roman Catholic Church, also in many Orthodox churches and monasteries, you will not enter into a certain space. There is the closure. It's not framed, it's not fenced. It is how to defend the true faith with decency. The question is not to be proud, but to get to the treasury of faith inside of your own temple. Means to receive your economy, your system of control that allows you to exist. And the rules may really be just burst. It can burst totally, as now, by a single tiny poison. The Eikonomia is also in the Orthodox tradition the way that allows everything, provided that you are looking to make everything better, easier, for the benefit of the faithful, of the human beings. What should we choose? Rituals? Am I allowed to celebrate anyhow, anywhere? Since now I will not take care of, well, where is my bishop? Who is the Rosh HaGalot in the Judaism? The same for the Muslims, though the Muslims are very quiet. It is quite interesting to look at and to consider this year. Jews try to find out how to go through the feast of Pesach, or to pray without a real minyan, 10 people, male people usually, and go on a virtual prayer. A lot of priests are going to celebrate on their own, in their house, with families. Personally, I never accepted this, though I have different anti-means given in order to allow me to serve for the benefit of the faithful there where I have to show the full mystery of God in the Eucharist. And of course, at this point, the Eikonomia is that everything is released. Everything is possible. And you see this. How dare we impoverish, make people poorer and poorer, and still fight in order to save a few elderly people. Eikonomia is the question. Eikonomia is a spiritual question because we are to rule in the future. After the virus, the way we can proclaim that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. He is risen, truly risen. The Eikonomia means that we have to be safe and sound, not confused, but live with this equanimity proposed by the Lord this year. We have to pray because a lot of people are going to die. A lot of people will be jobless. They will lose money, decency. Some people get crazy, just crazy in politics. People will lie. People steal. Real theft. Because when you feel this kind of confusion, you lose your mind. But the house is built on the one who took flesh and gave his flesh as to nurture the whole world. This is our task. We're on the week when we go, to St. John Climacos, means a ladder. It is a question of aliyah. We go up. We don't need to go down. We have no right to put our people, fellow man, in our generation, down. We may be scared, feel ashamed times. One thing, those who today are alive can really say, "Blessed the Lord who allowed us to be alive till these days." And it is a real Pesach. We're out from the land of Egypt and slavery. Holachma the anil. This is the bread of poverty, of the poor. But this is also the bread that we receive in a very, very little portion. We never know if we can receive it. We can share it, not only spiritually, we share it also when we reconsider the economics of the world, the way the churches are rightful, righteous, or unjust. It happens. And the way we are ready to take the bread and stop the war. The war in Hebrew is milchama. It is the moment when you cannot share the leichma, Aramaic for leichem in Hebrew, the bread. There is a moment you cannot share the bread. And don't play the fool. It becomes impossible. And we fake that yes, we can. And we argue and we quarrel. It is not the way. You want to have some order in the house? Just try to make it according to each cultures and traditions, acceptable to be online and comply with the rules that allow the house to be alive. God bless you. God bless you. We have time. May the Lord protect us all.